A pity Willem is not with us. Were he to see what lies before our eyes, caught a whiff of the burnt bodies, perhaps he would see with whom he now consorts, whom he allowed in our home with nary a fight.
If it be your majesty's wish, I shall send a rider to the prince with her.
I wish nothing of the sort. I will not correspond with the enemy.
Dwarves breach the walls, plowing traitors. Where's the king? Why'd he leave us a black-clad mercy? They took everything. I'd head to the wood, but my fear of the Scoia'tael.
Meave's ears caught the sound of a ruckus coming from the camp.
Thief! Inglet! A pox upon you all!
It was her quartermaster, hurling oaths at the peasants she had freed from the Nilfgaardian slave convoy. A few had stolen supplies under the cover of darkness and escaped into the woods. Terror and dread gripped the other freed prisoners. Meave mulled over what to do with them, and Reynard, as always, offered some advice.
'Tis high time they went off on their own, your grace. They are too great a hindrance. They slow our march, divert our soldiers from more important tasks. And now this.
Gascon was listening to their conversation. Meave shot him a questioning look.
I opposed taking them in. So, for consistency, I now oppose forcing them to leave. We made their miserable lives our responsibility, did we not? Well then, that is a burden we cannot simply shrug off.
Let us not mince words. We cast off these peasants now, they shall die.
Meave said in the end.
Let them stay. But I want them watched. They cause any more trouble, military justice they shall face. Understood?
The freed prisoners sighed with relief. The infantrymen assigned to watch over them, however, grumbled their disapproval of the Queen's decision.
"'Tis an army, not a shelter,"
they said. Meave's ears surely caught the complaint. But the Queen had never let the opinions of others guide her in such matters, trusting only her own judgment.
Not liking the looks of this.
Gascon said, furrowing his brow. Meave followed his gaze. Before them, beside the road, stood a hut with a scorched thatch roof.
Why?
Huts abandoned, yet dried fruit and mushrooms hang from the eaves. Famine raging all around and no one's been tempted. I'd send a scout if I were you.
The Queen did as Gascon suggested, and sent 3 infantrymen to reconnoiter. They entered the hut and found only silence, that was soon broken by a blood-curdling growl. The soldiers ran out at full speed, tripping over their own legs. Meve drew her sword, convinced a horde of neckers or ghouls would soon attack. But her fears proved unfounded. Instead of monsters, out of the hut came a shaggy dog, a torn scrap of fabric clutched in its teeth.
Milady!
One of the soldiers began, his face red with embarrassment and his hands covering a hole in his breeches.
Was dark as a well inside, and that hound, he jumped out at us all of a sudden, biting it and snapping.
Bad boy,
Gascon said with a smile, then pulled a hunk of dried sausage from his bag. Bought by this generous offering, the dog calmed down at once. Further examination showed the dog was the hut's only resident. Like many others in Aedirn, its owners had disappeared without a trace. Their loyal mutt still guarded the premises, waiting for his master's return.
Let's take him with us.
Gascon said.
Otherwise, he'll die here, of his own hunger or someone else's.
A watchful sentry like this could prove useful in our camp.
Said the Queen.
Fine. He can join. But he shall need a name.
How about Reynard?
Proposed Gascon, a cheeky grin smeared across his face.
That way, he'll come when you call, sit on command, and always be a heel. Always heel, that is.
Watch your words,
Said Reynard, hand tightly gripping the hilt of his sword.
or you'll learn I'm not at all as tame as you believe.
Enough, both of you. That's an order. As for you,
The Queen took a good look at the dog, who still had a scrap of fabric in his teeth.
since it seems you've a taste for the cloth of the nether regions, I dub you... Knickers. Will that do?
The dog wagged its tail vigorously, as if thoroughly pleased with its new name. Meve's company marched off, a furry new recruit richer. Watch your heads!
Pissing in the moat? Oh, dead. It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
Left, right, left. What now? Niamh and her companions neared the Moulderwood, a dense, ancient forest of trees whose tangled branches had witnessed the conjunction of the spheres. It was not until King Vidamont's day that a road was finally carved through the primeval thicket, significantly shortening the journey from Rossburg to Aldersburg.
Even when peace reigns, danger rules this road.
Rayla said.
Now no one dares travel it.
At the edge of the wood, by the road, stood an enormous willow. Its branches swept down to cover its trunk, looking for all the world like long tresses shrouding a woman's face. Niamh had an ill premonition. She did not like the sickly sweet aroma wafting from this tree, nor the metallic buzzing of insect wings. She sent a scout to investigate. He drew aside the drooping branches and stumbled back. There were men bound to the tree, covered in sap oozing from gashes in its trunk. Its heavy scent had attracted swarms of insects, flies, wasps, bees and beetles. They seethed over the bound men, crawling in and out of their ears and nostrils.
Eldain welcomes us to his wood,
Rayla whispered. Niamh stepped towards the tree and saw the men stuck to it were all still alive. Those the elves had caught recently writhed and howled for rescue. Those hanging longer merely followed the queen with half-crazed, bloodshot eyes.
Well? Are you to stand there all day?
Niamh screamed to her dumbstruck Lyrians.
Free them! At once!
Her soldiers needed no more prompting and set about sawing at the ropes with their blades. As soon as they had freed the first captive, before even a word of thanks could be uttered, a flaming streak soared through the air and stuck in the tree. The oozing resin burst into flames, engulfing the prisoners as well as the soldiers who had come to their aid. Elder speech battle cries rang out from the woods as elven warriors launched their attack.
Nilfgaardian! It's a trap!
Cried Rayna.
Defend the queen!
Keep your heads in the fight! They'll seek to blind us with shock and awe! I'll fight to my last breath!
We'll catch them all!
Nay, Dwan vi camest.
Yeah!
Kill them! Kill them all!
The chase is on!
I shall not fail!
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
None shall tread on us!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
The storm is coming. Let's enjoy the weather while we still can.
Hey?
Everything all right?
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
Wow.
Dance of death! Ha! Ha! Don't let them regroup! Finish off the wounded!
The battle done, Neve surveyed the carnage, her breath still ragged. The thick stench of blood, sap, and ash she sucked in made her stomach churn and head swoon.
The Scoia'tael. I'd heard of their cruelty, but
The queen said, sheathing her sword.
I... Never have I countenanced a thing like this.
Black Rayla, who had just extracted her blade from between an elven gorilla's ribs, smiled darkly.
Worst is yet to come, my lady.
The Queen regrouped her forces and marched into the Moulderwood. The Lyrians sang none of their usual marching songs. Instead, they walked in silence, eyes darting constantly to their flanks.
Hear that? Nightingales. Unmindful of war, they sing on.
Those are no birds, my lady. Just Scoia'tael scouts use animal cries to communicate. Tell the men to hold to the road, my lady. Anyone wanders in the trees, they don't come out. Yes?
This Eldane. Could you tell me about him?
He should hang.
I'd hoped to hear advice that will be useful to us in battle.
First of all, you can't rightly trust the bastard. He doesn't respect our laws, doesn't share our morals. The king once dispatched an envoy to Eldane, despite my advice to the contrary. Found the envoy the next day, eyes gouged out, shaft of his white flag jammed down his throat.
So, diplomacy's clearly not the wisest course. But what of battle? What tactics does he employ?
Like all elves, he's a worm. Avoids open confrontation, sets ambushes, attacks from the shadows, from midst the trees. It would be best to burn this whole forest to the ground, deprive him and his folk of cover, any place to hide.
Sounds rather drastic. Like tossing the babe out with the bath.
Believe me, they'd not hesitate to do the same to us. Not for a moment.
Rayla, how are you holding up?
Not certain I understand what you mean.
All Edirn is aflame. Nilfgaard's banners fly over its cities. Don't tell me you're not troubled.
Of course I'm troubled. I stationed at Rosberg for 5 years. Knew all on the crew there by name. But that's war. That's its nature. No sense bemoaning it.
I see. Just know if ever you wish to talk.
I won't, but I do appreciate your concern, ma'am.
I must go. We'll speak later.
Your Majesty, I've been meaning to thank you for allowing me to join your ranks.
Certainly, Xavier. I welcome all foes of Nilfgaard to march beneath my banner. But what did the field surgeon say? Have you not resumed work too soon?
I've strength enough to wield a hammer, though my scars still burn, and fiercely so. My lady, I've seen folk turn and frown at the very sight of me. If my appearance disgusts you, I can...
Nonsense. The Nilfgaardians, not you, should be ashamed. You've no reason to hide, no reason to cower.
Thank you, my lady. It means a great deal to hear that.
You've long served in King Demoven's army, haven't you?
Yes, Your Grace.
Why enlist at all? What prompted you to do so?
The king needed engineers. I answered the call.
Not terribly talkative, are you?
I can build any bridge, any ballista, but to talk, well, it hurts to talk.
I see. Well, do not worry. I prefer deeds to words, in myself and others. Other matters await my attention. We shall speak later.
As you wish, my lady.
Maeve's path took her to the village of Eichenfurt. Unlike most settlements in the area, not a single human dwelled here. Instead, only elves and dwarves sat on its porches and stared at the passing Lyrians with clear aversion. Not a single greeting was extended to their allies in arms. Not a single peddler tried to hawk their wares. The only sound was that of snapping shutters and slamming doors.
Something's amiss.
Rayla said, furrowing her brow.
Order a halt, my lady, and give me a moment to look around.
You've a quarter of an hour.
Maeve said as she dismounted.
And not a moment more.
The Queen sat in the shade of a large pear tree. She shut her eyes and listened to the chirping of crickets in the grass, savoring a rare moment of relaxation. But the calm did not last. Within moments, one of her scouts returned, a certain Sergeant Niedermere. tears streamed down his weathered, scar-pocked face.
Lady, come with us, please. You'll need to see this for yourself.
The sergeant led her to the still smouldering remains of a mill. Her soldiers were picking things out from the ashes. When she got closer, she realized in horror they were human skulls, some no larger than apples.
Tell the villagers to gather by the well,
The queen said in a strained voice.
or be executed.
The elves and dwarves attempted no denials. They admitted Eldain and his Scoia'tael had helped them round up all the humans in their village, march them into the mill, then set it aflame.
They stole our lands, defiled our names, beat us, murdered us in bloodthirsty pogroms.
Shouted one of the dwarves.
They had it coming to them. Got their comeuppance, I'd say.
Niamh was no stranger to the cruelty of war, but the enormous evil she found in Iconfurt overwhelmed her. She felt a terrible weight on her chest, found it hard to draw breath, and her head spun. She felt she could hear the cries of humans being burned alive.
Mom,
Whispered Reynard.
you must pronounce something.
Or simply turn the matter over to me, Your Grace.
Rayla interrupted.
I know what to do.
Do as you see fit.
Niamh said quietly, gaze fixed on the ground. The queen snapped her reins and rode out of the village. She did not want to witness the bloody massacre of non-humans her soldiers were about to perpetrate. What she had seen at the mill already sufficed to keep her awake for many nights to come.
What was that?
Niamh asked Reynard, who rode beside her.
A scream. A man's, I think.
Need to investigate. Gather a few men and we ride. Quickly!
The screaming came from a small settlement. When Niamh rode up to its farmhouses, her horse reared and neighed in terror. Necrophages swarmed all around. The monsters surrounded a few Nilfgaardians who were trying, with no success, to chase them off with torches. Reynard swept his gaze over the carnage and said,
They cannot stave them off, and their armor is too heavy for them to flee.
Niamh was uncertain at first how to act. But when she saw ghouls snatch one of the Nilfgaardians and rip him to shreds, she drew her sword.
No one deserves such a death. Not even a Nilfgaardian. Follow me! Lower your weapons! We're here to rescue you!
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Why do you help us?
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Catch!
Let the ghouls eat them, I say.
Silence! The Queen has made her decision.
I smell a leak.
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away. Bigger they are, easier they are to target. thing about slings, they hide well.
It worked, Your Grace. The monsters flee.
The Lyrians and the Nilfgaardians fought the monsters side by side, a united force. But when the last necrophage fell, the soldiers immediately returned to their respective divisions. Meave's soldiers looked at the invaders askance, uncertain what would happen next. Suddenly, one of the Nilfgaardians broke ranks and fell to his knees.
Your Grace, I know you have no reason to trust us, but we are not enemies. We hail from Geso, a land Nilfgaard conquered and made its province. We did not ask to fight in this war by force. We were conscripted.
The soldier hefted his sword by the blade and handed it, hilt first, to the Queen.
We yearned for a way to desert, and we have found it. Your Grace, allow us to join your army. We long for the Empire's defeat every bit as much as you do.
Meave helped the kneeling soldier to his feet.
The enemy of Nilfgaard is my friend, no matter who he is or whence he hail.
The Lyrians were clearly displeased with their queen's decision. The black-clad deserters from Geso would need to earn their trust.
Should have listened to me old lady. This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
Death to humans!
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn roots are killing me.
Nay, Dwan ve camest.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
I shall not fail!
Hey?
None shall tread on us!
Oi! Hey there! Come here!
Peace with humans? Abide thus!
Dance of death! Ha! Ha!
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Dwan!
Wait, you're serious?
Have we not passed this way before?
Scouts say no, Your Grace. They mark the trees.
Elves could have erased the marks, or left new ones where we've yet to tread. Best to follow the sun. Only way not to lose your bearings.
Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
We'll catch 'em all!
You mad? Don't shake that!
Admiral and Shay.
Everything all right?
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Riot!
This could hurt.
Look what the werecat dragged in.
You'll regret your mum ever squirted you out.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Death to Old One! Quick and painful this'll be.
Meve was discussing some matter with Gascon, when a scout approached. His blood-streaked uniform revealed the matter to be urgent, so the Queen cut short her conversation and requested a report.
We were scouting, milady, and we found a cave entrance. Small scattering of elves guarding it, but we took them right out.
Gascon scratched his chin.
I'd wager 10 Novigrad crowns there are more Scoia'taels squirreled away inside. We strike before they know we've snuffed out their guards. We might well catch them by surprise. But we must act quickly.
Then let us act. Gather some men and prepare them for an attack. But keep quiet.
The Lyrians crept into the cave. They moved carefully, noiselessly even, avoiding notice for quite a while. Nevertheless, elven warriors soon came pouring out of a side cavern.
We ought to help one or the other.
None shall tread on us!
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Oh my.
Now we will see who is weak.
They're not backing down! Must be something of value to them here!
We'll catch them all!
None shall tread on us!
You mad? Don't shake that!
Kayam!
Dwar. I was hoping you'd say that.
This could hurt.
You'll never take me alive! Ah!
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away. Bigger they are, easier they are to target. Thing about slings, they hide well.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Everything all right? Oh, my little egg. We ought to help one or the other.
Death to humans!
to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Oh, my little A.
The chase is on!
Death awaits us all.
We ought to help one or the other.
If the ring won't come off, just take the whole finger.
This is elven land, Dwan, upon which your kind dies.
Oh my.
Death to all Dwan!
Favor, Dwan!
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Oh, my little A. We ought to help one or the other.
Oh my.
Oh, my little A.
This could hurt.
I'll feed you to the crows!
We ought to help one or the other.
They're not backing down! Must be something of value to them here!
Oh my.
The chase is on!
Dwan.
None shall tread on us! Aye. Dole! Blathana!
Oh, my little egg.
Your tricks will not save you, Dwan. This is elven land, Dwan, upon which your kind dies.
Now we will see who is weak!
Oh my.
Watch your heads!
I shall not fail!
Catch!
Oh, my little egg.
Should have listened to me, old lady. This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads. For Demavend!
Wait, you're serious?
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
They resisted to the very end.
When the Lyrians broke the elven ranks, Niamh was convinced their foe would retreat and regroup. But to her surprise, the Scoia'tael fought to the bitter end. She concluded there must have been something truly valuable hidden in that cave. As Niamh entered the next chamber, her nose caught the stink of blood, pus, and urine. Then she understood. The elves were using the cave as a field hospital. Wounded fighters lay by the cavern walls. They made no attempt to defend themselves, nor to beg, nor to make peace with the gods. They merely watched the Lyrians calmly, with stark contempt.
Milady,
whispered Rayla.
you saw what the Scoia'tael are capable of. What they do to humans. They would have no mercy for...
Reynard, usually calm, could not hold back and cut Rayla off.
What, pray, do you suggest? That we murder the wounded?
The warrior responded in a whisper, slowly emphasizing her words.
I suggest you leave. Leave me and my men. We'll take care of the rest.
Niamh looked the warrior in the eyes, and was terrified by what she saw.
No, Rayla. We shall not touch them. Do you understand?
Rayla was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she nodded and left the cave. Reynard followed her with his gaze, hand on hilt.
Reynard, listen to me. You are to keep a close watch on Rayla until we are at least a day's ride from this cave. If she separates from the column, if she tries to double back, I wish to hear about it. Do you understand?
Reynard nodded. Despite the day's victory, they left the cave in a somber mood. On the edge of the Moulderwood there stood a small village, Crumhorn. The hamlet was surrounded by a high palisade, while the villagers carried makeshift weapons, flails, axes, and nail-studded planks. Life as the Scoia'tael's neighbors was clearly not easy. While her men rested, Niamh approached two of the villagers, They lowered their heads in respect and fidgeted nervously with their shirt hems.
My lady, reckon you ought to know. Elves meeting traders in the woods at night. Buy swords, herbs.
Rayla, who had overheard the conversation, twisted her mouth in a hateful scowl.
Hawkers stink worse than vermin. Willing to help murderers for coin. Please, milady, we must find them and punish them. You, talk! Where do these meetings take place?
The peasants looked at each other. One scratched his head, the other toed the sand. Finally, one of them blurted out,
"Could tell you, milady, yes, but only for gold."
I do not look kindly on extortion.
Neve replied, drawing her sword. The blade glistened in the sun, casting a bright light on the peasants' terrified faces.
I'm willing to forget this offense. If you tell me all you know, now.
Them orcas wheeled them goods to the old fishing hut north of here. Scoia'tael come a-crawling from the woods, the first crow of the cockerel.
The queen told her men to prepare to fight the Scoia'tael and their abettors. Black Rayla sat on a fallen trunk and sharpened her sword. The grinding of stone on blade sounded a grim promise.
I told you the queen's no fish wife. I told you you'd do better not to haggle with her, that she'd eat you whole. I told you the queen's no fish wife. I told you you'd do better not to haggle with her, that she'd eat you whole.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
Now we will see who is weak! Yeah.
Catch!
We'll catch 'em all!
Special price. Just for you, love.
I shall not fail! None shall tread on us!
The chase is on!
Everything all right?
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Brian!
Look what the werecat dragged in.
Hey?
Have strength, my love.
Let us sing the Song of Steel!
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Give me a target.
One bolt, all I need. Give me a target.
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Our ballista, your command. Our ballista, your command. Armor wall, sir.
As you wish, milady.
One bolt, all I need. Our ballista, your command. Armor wall, sir.
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Lyria! One bolt's all I need. Give me a target. Our ballista, your command. Armor wall, sir. Our ballista, your command. Armor wall, sir.
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
one boat. Give me a target.
Niamh was riding at the head of the caravan when Black Rayla rode up and leaned towards her. She spoke in a whisper, a hand shielding her mouth.
Your Grace, I've something important to tell you. Yet you can't show anything to miss. Look straight ahead. Make no sudden moves.
Niamh nodded slightly and waited for her to continue.
Scoia'tael scouts in the woods, watching us. Eldain's near here somewhere, preparing his attack.
So what do you propose?
Asked the Queen, her gaze fixed on the road ahead.
Let him catch us out in the open. We're sitting ducks. But there are ruins nearby, an elven cemetery. We can find cover behind its walls.
Niamh was accustomed to discussing important decisions with all her advisors, but she knew there was no time for consultation now. She had to trust Black Rayla's advice, and so without further delay issued the appropriate orders. Niamh's retinue reached the cemetery before dusk. Her soldiers knocked down the marble statuary and piled them into barricades, while scouts took up positions outside the walls to watch for the foe's approach. When the sun set, the woods exhaled the heat of the day, and a thick fog soon arose. Out of the mist stepped Reynard's scouts, bound and pushed forward by elves. One of the Scoia'tael, a sturdy elf with long hair, stood by the cemetery wall and cried,
I am Eldain. I would speak to Niamh.
I am she. Speak.
Cadmil en Kedvagenvid, Renna. This place is of great import to us, the Enshe. I would tell you of its monuments, of the weeping Ensevern, carved by 3 generations of sculptors, or of the alabaster relief of King Kellad, so beautiful even the birds would gather to admire it. But I see your men have found our memorials, and in the way of Dwan, destroyed them without a second thought. I cannot say this comes as a surprise. You've already shown the gods molded you from the basest of matter. You agreed to lynch an entire village, without trial.
Get to the point, Eldain.
So I shall. As you certainly know, the necropolis is surrounded. Soon, there shall be a battle. But it is unseemly to fight in a cemetery. So I ask you to come out into the open.
And surrender our tactical advantage.
I suspected a matter so impractical as respecting the dead would mean nothing to you, Dwan. So I submit one more argument. The lives of the soldiers you sent to spy. If you leave the cemetery, I shall set them free. They will fight at your side. If not, I shall kill them, here and now.
Milady, don't listen to him. He can't be trusted.
Rayla, those are good men. Fabian, Gerrit, Matthias, they've served me for a decade. They'd crawl through 7 hells for their queen. They do not deserve such a death.
I accept your conditions.
Your Grace, I beg you.
Soldiers! We march into the field!
Eldain clasped his hands in thanks. Then, in a swift, almost careless movement, slit the throat of the scout standing nearest to him.
You should have listened to Rayla, Your Grace. We elves truly cannot be trusted. Spala!
I warned you. Now we've lost the advantage.
I'm sorry, Your Grace. I take full responsibility.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Special prize. Just for you, love.
Catch!
I was hoping you'd say that.
Nay, Dwan ve camest.
I smell a leak.
Onward, Freiheit!
We'll catch 'em all! The chase is on!
Your Grace, our soldiers. We could have spared them that death.
Slaughter them to a man! None shall tread on us!
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth? Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
Your folk were dead the moment they fell into Eldain's hands.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Now we will see who is weak! I warned you! Now we've lost the advantage!
I'm sorry, Your Grace. I take full responsibility.
Aye.
Watch your heads!
got business for me?
Catch!
Your tricks will not save you, Dwan.
Should have listened to me old lady.
The chase is on!
Now we will see who is weak. Your death will avenge us, Dwan!
Nay, Dwan vacamest.
I'll fight to my last breath.
Onward, Fryhead!
Quick and painful this'll be.
I only loot corpses, except sometimes they're quite fresh.
Slaughter them to a man!
Blätter! Beaner!
After a long, bloody battle, Eldain's unit was destroyed, and Eldain himself sat at Meade's feet, defeated and dying.
To die in a cemetery. Something amusing in it, wouldn't you say?
I am surprised you are in the mood for humor.
All my tears I shed years ago. My family, killed in a massacre aimed at eradicating our race. Senseless. Utterly senseless. Reyna, we have lost. Me, my Scoia'tael, the Shay. We shall vanish from this earth. Your grandchildren will know us in fairy tales only. I know I deceived you, but lay my bones to rest in a grave. Let me part this world with dignity. Ager Dregared.
Oh, please! How dare he? Look, he laughs, Your Grace! This dog should rot in an open field. Need I mention the willow? The many strung from it? The many burned alive?
Mercy you don't deserve, Eldain. I shall leave you where you lie, where rats will gnaw at your bones.
In your boots, I would do the same. Vasse derad, ep again.
Niamh gave the order to march that very night, not waiting for the day to break. She wished to leave behind as soon as possible the moulderwood and the rotting elven remains littering Kedva Genvid Cemetery. Black Rayla rode at the head of the caravan to the Queen's right, a satisfied smile playing on her lips.
Oh, at last. I'd begun to think this wood had no end.
And I thought bandits knew their way round a wood.
We do. Around those not brimming with elves armed to teeth.
Yes? I live to serve you. You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Can't take it anymore.
Discipline shall bring us victory!
The burning fields and orchards spewed thick black smoke, turning day into darkest night. Riding in the middle of her caravan, Meve could see neither its head nor its rear. Reynard ordered the men to keep formation and march in silence.
Eyes open, fore and aft. The foe might well use these conditions to spring a trap.
When a scout's shrill horn cut through the silence, Meve immediately galloped to the front of the column. She found herself in a pile of red-hot coals that had once been peasants' huts.
What the devil happened here?
Bodies lay amid the ashes, barefoot men in nightshirts as if caught in their sleep. Meve deemed them yet more victims of the black-clad invaders, but Gascon had another interpretation.
Look at the arrows. Imperial issue? Not hardly. Nor are they the type the Scoia'tael favour. And the tracks in the mud, the attackers fought not in formation, but man to man. Bandits. It must have been.
Reynard, standing next to him, nodded in agreement.
Gascon can be relied on here. After all, he knows of what he speaks.
An uncomfortable silence fell over the group, ending only when Meve ordered the scouts to determine the direction of the bandits' tracks. They returned to report the killers were hiding somewhere to the north.
I'm going no further, and I'd advise you to do the same. Bandits took the fort to the north.
Another dead end. How the demons do I get out of here? How do I quit this place for good?
The scouts reported the bandits who attacked the village that night now occupied a fort the Adernians had hastily abandoned during their retreat.
They'll have crossbows, arbalest, ballistae. The bandits are armed to the teeth.
What's more, according to the local folk, they had a witch among them. In light of these reports, Meve's advisors debated whether it was worth risking a fight with the brigands.
Let's call it as it is.
Gascon said.
The game's not worth the candle.
Game?
Rayla said, struggling to swallow her anger.
They slaughtered an entire village. We cannot let them get away.
The stage seemed set for a long debate, when Meve pounded her fist on the table.
I am a queen, for God's sakes. I shall not cower before common rogues, even if the entire conclave of mages stands with them. Reynard, have the men prepare their arms.
Reynard saluted and left the tent. If one had seen him then, he would have sworn the grizzled soldier smiled to himself, beaming with pride in his ruler.
The king leads us to our...
Surrender while you can!
We'll catch them all!
Your Grace, I saw flashes of light inside the fort.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
Hey?
We must find a gap in the fortifications.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf I am.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Can't take it anymore.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Did you hear that? A kind of incantation.
Something's not right. They should be dead with those wounds.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf I am. Can't take it anymore.
The fort is ours, Your Grace.
They battled long and hard to take the fort. Meve could have sworn she saw bandits stalking its ramparts. Bandits who moments before had taken a bolt to the head. By all rights, a mortal wound.
What the devil is going on here?
She swore as she took cover behind her shield. The secret was unraveled only after the battle's conclusion. Meve's soldiers dragged before her a grey-haired woman in colored robes. The aura radiating from her left no doubt. They had fought a sorceress. It was her healing spells that enabled the bandits to hold off their attack for so long.
What is your name, sorceress?
Ispel of Tretagor.
I take it you did not keep company with bandits willingly?
Not at all. They kidnapped me and forced me to aid them.
Forced? I do not understand. As a woman fluent in the arcana of magic, you could have freed yourself with little effort.
True, I could have. But I would have had to kill, and I swore never to use my talents to harm another.
Not even in self-defense?
Not even then.
Then you live in truly unfortunate times. War rages all around. You cannot hide from it.
So be it. Then I must entrust myself to the care of the gods.
Or a passing queen.
You stand before Meve, by divine right ruler of Lyria and Rivia. We seek the lord of these lands, Demavend.
Oh, forgive me for not recognizing you, your grace. You do not look like a ruler. More like a mercenary.
Nor do you look like a sorceress.
True, milady. Forgive me. I meant no offense.
I accept your apology, and would gladly welcome you into our ranks. Truth be told, a skilled worker of magic would prove most useful to us.
Thank you, my lady. But you must know, an army is no place for me.
Should you wish it not, you needn't fight. We have many civilians among our ranks who
do their part in the slaughter. Indirect guilt is enough.
My soldiers do not slaughter, they fight.
Lofty words, but the result is the same. Piles of corpses.
Well, a bandit I am not. I shall not force you. Reynard, prepare the men to march on.
Of course, but if I may, perhaps Xavier might have a look at the war machines we captured. He may find some parts of use.
Meve followed Reynard's suggestion. Xavier went to work.
Yes, your grace.
Gods! What happened to him?
He was in Rosberg when the stronghold fell. Nearly burned alive.
How are you healing him?
The medics recommended regular poultices of dog's tallow, but whether they've any effect...
Of course they've no effect. For such wounds. How he must suffer.
In the day he reveals nothing. But at night one awakes to hear him sob with pain. You see? I need healers.
I shall go with you. But never shall I use magic to take a life. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, you have put it quite plain, and rather bluntly.
Forgive me, your grace. It has been long since I played the host. I forget the custom.
Your spells mean more to me than your manners. Welcome to our ranks, Isbel.
Isbel sat in one of their wagons and shut her tired eyes. Her long grey hair seemed to flutter ever so slightly, though there was neither wind nor breeze.
accursed land. Nothing but corpses and ash. Corpses and ash far as the eye can see. Smoke everywhere. Billows of it. Stings your eyes and scratches at your throat.
Was nearly home. Nearly with my dear wife.
The ruins still smoulder. Nilfgaard Park's not long afore. They must be close.
No doubt they already knock at Aldersburg's gate. We must make haste.
Brave warriors. Fled so fast, didn't manage to pack.
One boat, my lady. One boat, my lady. Give me a target. Give me a time. Our ballista, your command. One boat's all I need.
The ruins still smoulder. Nilfgaard passed not long afore. They must be close.
No doubt they already knock at Aldersburg's gate. We must make haste.